Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Oscar Buzz, and it is time for early 2024 predictions. So we're gonna break this up into 5 parts. We're gonna do a best picture video, a director video, a lead acting video, a supporting acting video, and a screenplay video. We're only gonna do
Indeed.
those big categories for now.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
text, you're not going to predict them, so what are we doing, really?
yeah,
So,
we're
yeah,
gonna wait until probably after Cannes to start predicting text and to start doing these all in one video. But we're gonna have a lot of contenders. We're doing the top 25 for best picture. We'll probably get down to like a 15 or so after Cannes. But for now, this is just fun. Listen, before you make all your angry comments, like, "Oh, it's too early to be predicting it." It's just for fun. It's
it's
just to
just
put
for
things on
fun.
your radar.
Yeah,
Like
and
we're
we've
doing this
actually spent a decent amount of time doing these, but it's worrying how these all make perfect sense right now. By the end of the Oscars, they're
they won't.
80% of these are going
They
to be
won't. But
exactly.
like
They're just
this
not
is
like
this is
they're just
just
not going to work.
fun to just
But
talk about
exactly,
next year.
and it's almost just a preview of things to come. Take it as a preview
Absolutely.
if you don't want to
But
take it
yes,
seriously.
yes. It's like we don't take it that seriously. There's some picks that we
No,
that are here just because we want them to be here.
exactly.
Because
Yeah,
like it's fun. These don't matter. Like predictions don't matter until the final one.
pretty much. Yeah,
Everything
yeah,
else is just fun.
exactly.
So, anyways, these are our predictions for Best Picture. We got Past Lives at number 1.
Yeah.
Listen, do I really feel 1,000% confident that this is going to happen for Best Picture? No, I don't. Wholly, like, completely honest, I do not. But it does kind of make sense. A24 has already said it is going to be their top contender. It's coming out in June. You may think that's not good. Actually, kind of is. Okay, it's been taking time for things to build. The earlier they come out, when it's these smaller movies, you get time. It compounds momentum, and by the end, it's like so strong, right? The strategy has been working out. It works for Coda. It works for Everything Everywhere. Is Past Lives going to be that type of movie? I don't know. Like, probably not. But, like, it's
Yeah.
also the one that I feel the most confident about actually getting nominated just because we have reviews. It got a
Yeah,
96 on
that was my
Metacritic.
philosophy. That is the only reason I've allowed it to be number one. I don't think it will win Best Picture,
I mean, I don't
but
either.
looking at the films we've seen so far, it's the only one we've actually got reviews for. Therefore, I'm weirdly the most confident it gets a nom. So I do
Yeah.
think it gets a nom. I
Like,
don't think it will
anything else
win,
can
but
flop.
whatever.
Anything else can flop.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. Like any of these other ones could flop, whereas Past Life we know is solid. I could see it just end up being the Aftersun of the year, where critics love it, audience seem to love it, but it never really actually goes anywhere. But it is A24's top priority, so that is automatically more than Aftersun
Exactly.
had. So yeah, like I guess it's the number one right now.
Sure.
Who knows where we'll be this time next year though?
For sure. The Color Purple, we have number 2. So the other thing with Past Lives is that it fits this trend of it being the director's first film nominated in Best Picture that wins. Everything Everywhere, Coda, Nomadland, Parasite, Green Book, Shape of Water, Moonlight, Spotlight. I mean, Birdman is the one that breaks the trend, but then you still can go
Yeah,
back 12 Years a Slave, Argo. I
it's
mean,
just
The
it's a
Artist.
trend. It's a
It
bit
is a
more than a trend
very
at this
strong
point. They
trend.
clearly there is something about introducing
Rewarding new
someone to
voices.
the club that they like. Yeah,
They like rewarding new voice.
yeah.
Blitz Bezul, I think that's how you say his name. Like insane visual director, did a lot of music videos for like Beyonce and stuff. Also he's directed a film before that was beloved on the indie scene. It sounds like the Daniels. And like it's a remake of a previous Best Picture nominee that was like a massive thing. It got 11 nominations or 10 nominations the first one. I could see this being a repeat. I think it's going to be visually insane. I could see this movie doing really, really well.
Yeah, it makes sense. And we looked at some of the other nominations we were potentially looking at, maybe acting, directing, all of that kind of stuff, which we'll get to. But it just sort of makes sense to be a picture contender.
For sure, for sure.
Obviously, the first one famously ended up losing. Whereas if you look at maybe a more recent example, West Side Story, which the original won and the remake was still a big Oscar contender, potentially there is. But like we saw Top Gun this year, it's legacy things. They like these sorts of things.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be much like, oh, we don't need to see a Colour Purple. I mean, All Quiet on the Western Front, for God's sake.
Right.
So I don't think that'll be an argument against it.
I think it'll
It's
happen.
new voice. Hopefully, it'll be visually distinct. And yeah, it just feels like the sort of thing that could make sense to be a Best Picture contender.
Absolutely. Barbie. So let's talk about this. This is my most anticipated film of the year. That is not the only reason why I have it in.
Yeah.
Listen, I think that this is going to be huge. We'll get to screenplay. I think it makes a lot of sense in screenplay. It feels like the Get Out or like the Promising Young Woman type of play. I think Robbie can get nominated. I think Gosling can get nominated. There were test screenings for this. People said it was like their favorite thing that they'd ever seen. Now, granted, the people who are going to actively seek out a Barbie test screening are people who already wanted it to be their favorite thing ever. But
exactly,
like, I've talked.
It's
to
also test screening, so you can't trust them at all.
I know. I've talked to people who have read the script. I will not name who, but like all these things about when people are like, "Oh, this is like the best movie ever," right? This is the best script I've ever read. Okay, obviously actors are going to say that to hype it up. I've talked to people who aren't in the movie who got to read the script, and they've said it is one of the best scripts that they ever read. So,
yeah, my philosophy with this film has always been: I think it will either flop really, really hard or be a really, really big success.
Exactly.
I think it could flop at the box office. I do think the box office might be a problem, like it is a summer blockbuster. But how I think there are some people who might be living in a bit of a Twitter bubble. Trevor, not included, obviously. You'd never live in a Twitter bubble. That think that this will be a major, major financial success. I don't know about that.
But
like, yes,
and I think it being a hit is more likely than it being a flop. Is the thing.
Exactly, that's the thing. Like, if you look at the crew behind it, like Greta Gerwig, Noah Baumbach, and all of the actors, Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, it's got a great talent behind it. It's got a great pool of talent behind it. Therefore, why bet against it? I guess is my philosophy. Exactly. Like, it could either be a flop, it could either be a success. Why bet against this crew? So let's just hope it's a success. We're not going to
bet against it. If we're going to work on the assumption that it is going to be good, like if it is good, it is going to be huge. It isn't going to be like, oh,
that was my thinking. If like, it's going to be good, it's
going to be massive.
Yeah.
So why not? Why not?
Yeah.
Number 4, we got May December. I think that this is going to be the big artsy critic type thing, like Tar. I think Todd Haynes coming back, like so robbed for Carol. And I think if Carol came out today, it would have gotten in. It was most definitely the number 9. And like, I know that this feels like the Tar type pick. So
yeah, I guess I would agree. I'm slightly less confident. I do think it gets a nom, but I don't know if it will necessarily be as big as Tar. Like Tar ended up getting things like cinematography and editing. I don't think this will ever be that.
Though. Like,
I feel like this is just. I feel like this is just acting screenplay, which would be enough to get a picture nom, 100%. But
like,
I don't know.
The premise of it is.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll inform the audience out there. It's like these like this actor. I think it's Natalie Portman is like going to Julianne Moore's house and she's been like convicted of like a crime. But basically, Natalie Portman is playing her in like a true crime like play or movie or something like that, and then she's trying to like analyze her. So it feels very Persona, one of my favorite movies ever. Like it feels very, very artsy. It's going to be doing a lot with like actors acting as other actors and like
I think that would definitely help. Performance. Yeah, that would definitely help. But also, you look at Todd Haynes' last film, Dark Waters, flopped, and it wasn't very good.
That didn't have the same type of incredibly artsy, pretentious critic type premise.
Exactly. So that's why I'm thinking. I think it'll get nominated. I wouldn't be so confident having it this high, personally, but it is what it is.
Now, 5 is Killers of the Flower Moon. You might think that we're insane for having it this low. I'm sure a lot of other people, a lot of other channels will have it number 1. Yeah. Listen, every single year, the perceived number 1 contender, it never happens for Best Picture, okay? The Fabelmans, The Trial of the Chicago 1917. Do they still happen? Sure. They do.
Yeah.
Like even last year, things like Empire of Light didn't even get in. Okay. The year before, Nightmare Alley barely scraped in. Okay. I mean, Tragedy of Macbeth didn't even happen. House of Gucci didn't even happen. Right. So like all of these big, high profile director, big budget projects, they never end up being top 3, top 4 contenders for Best Picture. Okay. You cannot convince me that The Fabelmans was a top contender for Best Picture. These things, they just don't happen. They either get in and they're like mid-table contenders, or
unless there's a clear narrative of this person hasn't won an Oscar before, let's give it to them. Like if you look at Shape of Water, that was probably a major take, but there was also a narrative there behind it, whereas this is just like another Martin Scorsese film. So I think it will get in 100%. It's got probably text, acting, short, all of this kind of stuff. It's got the noms, but I just don't think it will win.
Look at the last Best Picture winners.
It doesn't make sense as a winner. It doesn't feel like it will be an important film. Yeah.
It is not. I mean, it kind of is because it's about like the FBI's treatment of like the Native people.
Yes,
but, like, it still doesn't fit in with like the most recent winner.
No, it definitely just feels like The Irishman.
The recent winners, their passion play, which the other ones feel. This does not. Saltburn. I think. Listen. It's MGM. It's a little bit scary. I understand, but it's going to be Emerald Fennell, making her first film since Promising Young Woman. It stars Rosamund Pike and Barry Keoghan, two previous nominees, and it's just gonna be like this like very fun like takedown of like high class aristocratic society and like period piece England type thing.
Yes, it's like
I think it's
almost doing the thing that Triangle of Sadness was doing, but in this sort of period setting, which
yeah, it's like Triangle Sadness meets like The Favorite kind of, or like
exactly,
I don't know,
exactly.
like it feels like it could be very fun, and like I like Promising Young Woman. It won't be like a dull period piece. It's probably gonna be like very high energy and crazy. I know. I think this is gonna be like a really fun movie that people are just gonna really get behind. That's gonna premiere at like TIFF for Venice or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. This feels like a festival thing that could break out of that and become like MGM, not the best distributor. They still managed to somehow get Women Talking in last year. So I don't think that's too big of an issue. We'll get to distributors when talking about the next film because I think that's where it plays a real pivotal factor. But like this, I agree. This just feels like the sort of dark comedy thing that people can rally behind and makes sense if you look at the talent behind it. So
yeah, I know. I completely agree. And this will also get text, whereas Women Talking didn't. This is probably going to get costumes, production design, maybe makeup. Women Talking was just working with screenplay. Like this can still miss every acting category, and I think it'll still be fine.
It would severely weaken it. It would mean it would just scrape in, but I think it could just still scrape in.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, we got Dune at number 7. I don't want this here.
I wanted it here because I don't think like. If you want to make the comparison with Black Panther, which you could if you wanted to, like the first one did well, got into the picture, the second one kind of flopped a bit. Dune was so much more of a tech sweeper than Black Panther ever was. Dune won so many tech awards in its year, and I don't think it will replicate that, but I still think it will win a lot of tech awards. How are you denying it for visual effects? There's stuff like sound, cinematography. I think it will get these tech wins and just get into the picture.
Warner Brothers is going to get 3 movies into Best Picture.
I don't think Warner Brothers would need to do as much campaigning for Dune. I think Dune is enough
that they can get in anyway. Okay. So I'm just going to make this known. I vehemently disagree with this. I don't think that Dune should be here, but this is the compromise that had to be made.
But I don't think Dune needs Warner Bros. Campaign. I don't think Warner Bros. Gets free in either. I'm just I don't know what else to take out. Like Barbie could flop, potentially it's that. Color Purple could just not really be as big an Oscar thing as we're thinking. I do think Dune gets enough tech noms, and I think it just gets enough of that. It doesn't need any above the line support. It doesn't need the adapted screenplay nom the first one.
It's not going to get it.
It's not going to get it. I mean, it could, but I doubt it. And it doesn't need that though. It's got that tech support, and I just found it really difficult to see, well, if we're giving it a win in visual effects, if we're giving it a win in sound, if we're giving it noms in cinematography production, buying it 1 costumes previously, it's probably going to get on there as well. It's it doesn't make any sense not to do it in picture. It doesn't make any sense.
I think it'll just get snubbed. I just don't think
I mean, it's also the sort of final Dune one, or I guess the final one that's been announced so far. It's not like Lord of the Rings of Two Towers, which
I know, but it's just
why? Because it's winning text, and that's all it needs. That's just the why.
I know. I disagree, but we'll see. Number 8, we got Poor Things. Now, this is one that we both don't really love, but I feel like Searchlight's got to get something. Okay, they've been very consistent. They've gotten something in for the last 5 years. They've only missed, I think, twice in the last 15. Right? They're really good at campaigning the Best Picture. I mean, they've won twice in the past 5 years. I just don't. We'll see if Yorgos is Wes Anderson. And he's just a one-hit wonder.
This is a test, really,
because it could literally follow the same exact path, right? Because Moonrise Kingdom, like The Lobster, got a lone screenplay nomination. Then the next year, boom! Now he gets everything. Now he can picture, director, screenplay. He can, all these things with The Favorite and Grand Budapest. And then afterwards, Wes hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
Will Yorgos be the same exact path, or will he get in? I don't know. I have it in because Searchlight. That's the only reason.
Exactly, that's the thing. I'm really hoping May December, which is the only one in the top 10 that doesn't have a distributor so far, picks up Searchlight. Yeah. Although that is a bit of a pipe.
That feels more like a focus thing, though.
Exactly, it does feel like a focus thing. So
which we also have a focus movie in.
Yeah, so we do not.
I feel like May December will be picked up by Focus, and that fulfills the Focus slot.
Yeah, we do need a Searchlight thing in. And so I guess it's got to be Poor Things. You look at what else Searchlight has. Next Girl Wins and Doubt It. Magazine Dreams. Really? Are we going? Yeah. I don't know if that's going to be able to pick up the sport. So there is really nothing else for Searchlight other than this. Right. So I guess we just have to go with it. Pretty much. I think it will be more
because I
likely
don't think
that
Searchlight will miss.
Yorgos will be the Wes Anderson, though. That's
Like
my personal thinking.
even when it looked like they would miss with 2021, they still managed to get Nightmare Alley in as a shock. So
Yeah.
like they're good at campaigning the Best Picture.
Hmm.
I don't know.
And I guess also the question is then which do they put their focus into? Because Taika, previous Oscar nominee, Yorgos, previous Oscar nominee. I think then, yeah, you're just gonna, and we're choosing to bet Poor Things will be the one that they go for. It could be next goal win, so who knows really at this stage.
Yeah, for sure. Number 9, we got Mace. So this is our Netflix pick. Again, we got something in. Now, I can't say anything about this, but yeah, I've talked to people. Her mixed thing is all I will leave it at. I think that Bradley Cooper is going to be very strong in an insane amount of makeup. I think that this can be like the actor makeup combo potentially. I think that this will probably get tech. We'll see about everything else.
Yeah, I think this strikes me a little bit like The Whale, but I do think it has more tech support. Therefore, I feel a bit more comfortable putting it into a picture. I do think Bradley Cooper will probably win. We'll get to that. And yeah, again, we just see the Netflix thing in, and I guess this is its best contender at this point. Rustin, potentially, but let's go by straight.
Yeah, it just makes sense at this point for what Netflix has. And I think we'll probably get like a big Venice Gala premiere. And if it's Netflix, if you're Netflix's top choice, you do get in. Like,
yeah. And I could see us just being very wrong about this one, and this one just not really doing anything in picture. But
it could also be better than we think it is. So
it could be better than we think it is. I think it'll be messy though. I think it'll be messy.
Yeah. All right, the last thing that we have getting in currently is the bike riders. At this point, I'm fine with this. I think it makes sense as of now. It makes sense for Disney to push to get something in. Jeff Nichols' new movie, who has only garnered like a bit of acting support for his movies before, like Loving, but it does kind of make sense. Like it does kind of make sense.
Yeah, the cast behind it is good, and this was sort of more just a puzzle briefing. Like we looked at the other potential nominees, potentially Oppenheimer, but we thought, okay, if June is going to be shutting out and tech categories, that's not really going to get above line support either. Can we really say that's picture? Not really. The Bob Marley biopic, we're not putting Kings of Endearment spoilers, but like it was a piece in the puzzle, basically this one, and it makes sense.
Cast is strong. It's like Jodie Comer. You got Austin Butler, you got Tom Hardy.
Like, it can get acting. And I think that could just be enough to see it into picture.
Like, it's about, like, this, like, bike gang in, like, the 60s and 70s. It feels like, you know, like, those, like, counterculture type movies, like the Jack Nicholson type thing, like Easy Rider, 5 PCPs, like, things like that.
So they might like it as well. Just people might go,
I think that critics will really like this movie as well.
Yeah. So and I feel like audiences could as well. They might be like, oh, this is, you know, the good old days.
Good old fun.
Cinema.
Yeah.
Like, I could see this being that sort of thing.
No, absolutely. Like, I think it'll be like a big TIFF premiere. And like, I could definitely see happening. Yeah. All right. Number 11. We're now out of the lineup, but we got Blitz. This is from Apple. So this is Steve McQueen's new movie. It stars Saoirse Ronan and Harris Dickinson, and it's a war movie about people trying to escape London during like the Blitzkrieg bombings during World War II. You may think, well, that sounds baity. Why is that not in? So 2 reasons. One, I'm not convinced about Apple's strength to get 2 movies into Best Picture. And I think that's going to prioritize Killers of the Flower Moon. The other thing is that it literally just finished filming like a week ago, and they'll still probably have to go do reshoots, and then it still has to go through production. I would be shocked if it's ready in time for festivals in like 5 months. Yeah.
And I feel like this is a film that sort of needs those festival runs. Like we've seen in the past, Apple with December releases, they don't usually amount to very much. And also, like, I don't know, it just, we've been burnt before trying to predict things that don't actually end up coming out. I mean, look at Next Goal Wins. We've been predicting that 3 years in a row pretty much. So I just felt that in our best picture lineup, we should just keep things that we know we're fairly confident are coming out. Whereas this, we're not, but we do think if it does come out, there is a very strong chance that it can get nominated.
Yeah, I think like Steve McQueen isn't a sure bet.
He's not a sure bet. Like, look at Widows. Yeah,
look at Widows. Right, 12 Years a Slave was strong, but like that 12 Years a Slave might just be a one-off.
It's a decade ago at this point.
Right. So it isn't a sure bet. But like we have it at 11 just in case. Number 12 is where we got Oppenheimer. Okay, people might be upset with this, but I don't think it's getting any acting support. Okay, sorry, Cillian Murphy stands. I'm sure you're out there. I don't think it's going to get screenplay. That would be weird. I don't trust Christopher Nolan to direct an Oscar-worthy performance or write an Oscar-worthy screenplay. I'm sorry, that is not his forte, okay? His forte is big visual stuff.
Yeah.
If I just think that this is getting tech nominations, I think it will struggle to win because Dune and Barbie and The Color Purple exist. I think it'll struggle to get tech wins. So then we're just looking at a movie with a bunch of tech noms. Maybe. If one movie with that is going to happen, it would be Dune.
And the thing is, we've seen this before with Christopher Nolan, films that get to tech noms but don't get any above line support and therefore don't get Best Picture. This has been a repeated trend with Christopher Nolan films. I do think this film does stretch slightly beyond just the name Christopher Nolan. Like, it is a war biopic. It is a bit more baitier than the previous concepts he's been working with. And there is a lot, like, he apparently blew up a nuclear bomb. They do clearly like that sort of stuff. Like, look at Avatar this year. That was primarily nominated for the technical achievement. So I could see a narrative being built around Oppenheimer, but I could also see this being a slight box office failure as well. Like, I'm not confident it's making its money back, really.
I think it's more likely that Barbie dominated Oppenheimer, in all honesty.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. I feel Barbie would have more legs at the box office than Oppenheimer will. But yeah, I feel Oppenheimer will probably be number one that week. But anyway, that's needless, really. I don't know if it can win tech categories because things like June are there, and therefore I just don't know if it can have the support to get in picture.
Absolutely. Number 13, we got this untitled Bob Marley biopic coming from Paramount. So this is an interesting one. This is very, very interesting. So it's being directed by Ronaldo Marcus Green, and the screenplay is being written by Zach Baylin. You might remember those names from King Richard, Best Picture nominee. You got Kingsley Ben-Adir playing Bob Marley, and Lashana Lynch is going to be playing his wife. This could be huge. Okay? This could be absolutely massive. They currently have it for January 14th, 2022. 2024. I know I said 2024. That was a year ago. January 14th, 2024. And that was kind of the same thing that they did with Babylon, where they initially planned it for like limited release like the last weekend of the year and then going wide in mid-January. So we'll see, because I'm not that confident in Paramount. They haven't been the greatest at campaigning. Just look at Babylon. No. You can say, oh, well, Top Gun. It's not like they really did anything for Top Gun. Yeah. Top Gun just kind of happened on its own. They started campaigning eventually, but like that campaign got started by people just going and watching and loving that movie. Not because they were campaigning for it. When they've had like biopics and stuff like this, like Paramount aren't the most reliable at campaigning. No. So we'll see.
And also, like, if you do want to compare it to maybe Elvis, which would be a decent comparison, I don't think there'll be the same support rallied around Kingsley Ben-Adir as there was around Austin Butler.
Right.
And the name is not as big as Baz Luhrmann, so I don't think we'll have that.
Right, I feel like Ronaldo Marcus Green is like this respected auteur who's been nominated a bunch of times.
He directed a pretty Oscar bait film in King Richard. I liked King Richard, but it is a pretty Oscar baity film. It's just a stereotypical film that gets in. He was never near the directing conversation, so it's not really the biggest names attached to it. Therefore, I just don't know if it can gain that support, especially with a distributor like Paramount. A release date like that, like Elvis released in summer, had time to build up that support. I don't think that's really a comparison. Yeah, exactly. I feel this could just be another musical biopic that doesn't quite make it in.
But it can still happen. It can still definitely
It can still happen, and if it does happen, it could be very big. Kingsley Ben-Adir could be in the winning conversation, but
absolutely, which would be amazing. He should have been nominated for One Night in Miami.
He should have.
Number 14, we got Rustin. I think Coleman Domingo, very strong for a nomination. I just think that Netflix will slightly prefer Maestro. Like Rustin can maybe happen for screenplay, but I'm not convinced. It's from the same screenwriter as Milk, I think.
Previous winner, so I think it's on the edge of screenplay. Yeah. I just think this could be a bit like dull, like a bit like the director, because like not really
you can't convince me that Milk would have won screenplay if it was released today.
No, exactly. I think if this is Netflix's number one priority, it gets in easy. Gets in no questions asked. But I don't know if it will be. Therefore, I don't think it has enough. I don't feel it has enough passion to break through the wall of films above it. So.
Because like Maestro, like also the producing team behind that.
Yeah,
Spielberg and Scorsese and Todd Phillips is weirdly there, but Spielberg and Scorsese, they could both end up with 2 Best Picture nominations this year because Scorsese obviously has Killers, and then Spielberg is also producing The Color Purple.
Yeah,
so Spielberg and Scorsese could both end up with 2 Best Picture nominations. It would be crazy, but like, I don't know. I like that just kind of makes sense. It just kind of makes sense, and like. Rustin can be there. I don't think that like Netflix would get 2 in with that though. So
no, I don't think Netflix will get 2 in this year. Like they barely ended up getting 1 in last year, only after a final quick. Okay, let's just push all quiet out to everyone possible and hope for the best. Did they get in 1 last year? So like I don't know if they are really as dominant in awards as their first couple years in the game would
Right.
have,
Yeah.
like just like Apple as well. Like they won, sure, in basically their first year trying. They did fuck all last year, so like who knows really?
Yeah. Literally just animated short.
Exactly.
For the
Yeah.
actor, if you want to say that was Apple's doing.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, number 15, we got Our Apprenticeship. So this is the new movie by Ryusuke Hamaguchi, who previously did Drive My Car, Best Picture, Director, Screenplay, International winner. So this movie is maybe a bit of a swing. It doesn't have an American distributor yet. I think that this is going to go to Cannes, and I think it could be very big at Cannes. The premise of this film, we don't know that much, but it's about a bunch of people from a bunch of different countries. I think specifically a predominantly queer cast, and it's about them learning and exploring like their languages as they're also like exploring their like sexual identities. So it's very heady, very artsy, very like, I mean, it's an exploration of language through like like all of these things. It feels like the big artsy pick. It feels like something that like Neon will pick up or something. And like, do I think if it wins the Palme d'Or or something, I might predict it. I might predict it for Best Picture.
Yeah.
But I need to see it get a distributor first, and I need to see if it's actually coming out at Cannes. Like I want to see reviews. I want to see something from this movie before I start to slide it up higher. But I do think that Hamaguchi can pick up a nomination for like maybe writing. We'll see. So yeah, I don't know. I could see this happen.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at previous years, there has been a trend to put one international feature in here. I just think those are impossible. Like, we're not going to know what the international contenders.
That's why I want to wait until Cannes.
Yeah,
I like
exactly. We're not going to really know what they are until we get these sort of start getting these festivals. I could definitely see this being a screenplay thing. I could also see this being a lone screenplay thing. Like, Drive My Car was definitely a screenplay thing before it turned into a direct thing, and then it turned into a big thing. So maybe it follows that same trajectory, but I don't know. I feel this could just be alone.
It follows the same trajectory at all, because it's not normal that we see like these international directors coming back.
Yeah, exactly. It's usually a sort of one-time thing, but we'll see. I definitely think there is potential there for this.
Yeah. Number 16, we got Challengers from MGM. This will be an interesting one. I've heard generally good things. It currently has an August release date, but I heard rumors that it's going to be pushed back and they are going to actually send this to festivals. Yeah. It's a movie about a couple of tennis players in New York. It stars Zendaya and Mike Feist. Josh O'Connor is also in this. It'll be interesting to see if there's any kind of push behind Zendaya. I mean, Luca's last movie, Bones and All, we really liked it. I think a lot of people really liked it. It was never going to be an awards thing, but like, a lot of people liked it a lot. I feel like this makes sense to be a Venice premiere. And then it would be, MGM's not going to get 2, and I feel a lot better about Saltburn.
That was my logic as well, really, here. And I mean, but look at Bones and All, look at Suspiria, the last Guadagnino project. They're horror films. The Oscars don't really go for them. So the last time he did sort of more an Oscar baity thing was exactly Call Me By Your Name, and that was a big hit. So I could potentially see it. This could be a sort of King Richard thing. I mean, it's a sports biographical thing, which the Oscars do go for quite regularly. So there is a lot of potential this does get in. I think the MGM problem is a big one. The release date problem is a big one.
So what the reviews are, because Call Me By Your Name had insanely high reviews.
Exactly. I feel this is just going to be a generally well-liked thing that's ended up that's going to end up being forgotten about
that I want to wait
by the time. Exactly. Wait and see.
Number 17, we got The Holdovers. So this is our top Focus thing. Once again, unless May December is picked up by Focus, which I do think is like a very distinct possibility. But
it feels like a Focus thing, yeah.
It's a new Alexander Payne movie. It's about like it takes place during like Vietnam, I think, the Vietnam War, and it's about like people in America and dealing with like their trauma overseas or something like that. It stars Paul Giamatti. You could maybe see him being strong. It's Alexander Payne. Downsizing didn't really do anything. His last things that did do stuff were like Nebraska and Descendants.
But they're quite Oscar baity, and like we haven't really seen the Oscars go for those kind of stuff in like mass. They're not nominating them constantly. Like, yes, they've done Belfast, yes, they did Coda, but like I don't know, it doesn't feel like Descendants would get nominated today.
I wouldn't even call like Coda Oscar bait. Like that was just like a Sundance.
No, I guess Belfast sort of.
Belfast, but like that was also like biographical about the director. Like there was a narrative. Like this, if anything, feels almost like Greatest Spirit Ever or something like that. But like, listen, it's Focus, which does give me confidence. One thing that could distract from it though is all of the Alexander Payne allegations. I won't talk about them here, but you know, if you want to learn more, just look up Alexander Payne allegations, because you know he did some things since the release of his last couple movies. Well, he didn't do them, but you know, do them since then. But we've heard about them since then. And he did some things in the 80s that have been revealed since his last movies. And the Oscars have been showing a bit more resistance to nominating people who have done things like that. So we'll see.
Yeah, we will.
Number 18, we got The Way of the Wind. This doesn't have a distributor. This would make a lot of sense to go to Cannes. This is Terrence Malick's new movie. It is a movie about the death of Jesus.
Yeah, I just think this is just going to be a bit too polarizing, a bit too artsy for the Oscars. I just don't think they're going to want to touch a film
like
this.
Tree of Life, but
exactly, it would have to be really critically acclaimed and be a real passionate pick for it to get in. Like, even if it gets in, it will be the number 10. It's not. I just don't really see where it can get to support
anything that makes
elsewhere.
Like cinematography or something.
Yeah, it feels like that kind of thing. I don't see it getting the support elsewhere in other categories. Therefore, I don't think the Oscars will really go for a film like this. They might, though. It's Terrence Malick. He's had a history with the Oscars.
I love Terrence Malick. He hasn't made a really Oscar-y type film in a while. No. But we'll see. We'll see what the festivals go for.
Yeah.
Number 19, we got Wonka. Yeah. All right. So purely because I have heard good things, and I mean, we'll see. This could do really well at the Globes. I could see this getting like Globe Picture, Globe Actor. Like, we'll see. Because like Paul King did the Paddington movies. Those Paddington 2 got like a BAFTA nomination for like film or something.
Exactly, and they didn't have a big name like Timothée Chalamet to draw eyes on it. Really, like Paddington was more a word of mouth sort of thing. Whereas I think people will actually be wanting to see Wonka. Weirdly.
Oh no, I agree. I mean, it's it's IP name recognition.
Yeah.
I mean, plus Timothée Chalamet, plus I think the costumes, production design is
exactly. It can get tech support quite easily if the film's decent and has sort of text. Like, yes, it can get those. I don't think this is going to be a picture thing at all at the Oscars, but no, I agree, it could get Golden Globe comedy musical. I agree. Therefore, it is worth mentioning.
Yeah, I think we'll get a precursor.
Yeah.
Number 20, we have Asteroid City / The Wonderful World of Henry Sugar. Just the Wes Anderson projects. Again, I don't really know, man. Like, Focus has Asteroid City. Netflix has Wonderful World of Henry Sugar. He has 2 movies this year. Like, Wes Anderson just hasn't been a thing since Grand Budapest. It's been 9 years now. Like, I don't think that Wes Anderson is an actual Oscars director. I think it was just a one-time thing for him.
And even though his production design, costume design, they're always off the wall. They're always some of the best of the year. The Oscars
they didn't even nominate French Dispatch for
the Oscars. Still don't go for them. So yeah, he's just I agree. He's just not really a Oscars director.
Like, we'll see. I think for somebody like Wes Anderson, he has to get best of his career reviews.
Probably to replicate
that
success
was Budapest.
Yeah.
So if one of these movies, if Asteroid City comes out in a couple months and people this is the best movie of his career, then I might consider it for
equally, I don't see that really. So it's hard to see it.
But we'll wait and see. That's why he's on the list.
Yeah.
21's Napoleon.
Yeah, I don't know about this one. It's Apple. It's not going to be their first priority. If Blitz comes out, it's not going to be their second either. So
yeah, it would get tax minimum.
Yeah, it's also Ridley Scott. So he's hit or miss. So
more miss than hit.
More miss than hit at the moment. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Number 22, we got The Killer. This is Fincher's new movie for Netflix. They don't like to go for thrillers.
Fincher thrillers. They go for Fincher's when he's sort of doing a bit more.
Even like Nightcrawler didn't happen.
Exactly. Like they went for Fincher when he did Mank, but of course they went for that.
Well, right.
They went for Fincher when they did Social Network, but it's just not really feels like the type of
Girl to Dragon Tattoo.
Exactly. These kind of things from Fincher don't get in. I'm looking forward to it. Fassbender probably won't happen though. I think he would need to happen for this film to get any sort of picture.
Would be the other thing that could happen.
Tilda Swinton could. I really don't see that happening.
But I don't think it'll be an adapted screenplay thing. I just don't see where this is getting its nominations, I guess.
Yeah, and therefore I just don't see it as a picture contender, really.
Yeah. Ferrari, Michael Mann's movie, Adam Driver, Penelope Cruz, produced by STX. Listen, I can't say anything. I've heard that this is kind of a disaster.
It feels like the type of film that could be a mess. It's STX as well. Who?
Exactly. It could be House of Gucci 2.0.
It very much could be.
So, I don't really know. No. Number 24, Next Goal Wins from Searchlight. So this movie.
November 2019, I think it was. November 2019 it was supposed to come out. And it's not here yet. It's
they had the whole thing because they had to reshoot half of the movie because a certain people eater was in it.
And then COVID, and then it was meant to come out in like April this year, and they thought, okay, no, we could actually do an awards run, which is a pro for the film. Like they do seem to be trying to give it an awards run. I just don't know how this film will actually turn out. Yeah, this film just feels like one of those ones that people think at the start of the year, but actually just doesn't turn out to be very good. Therefore, doesn't really amount to anything. That just feels like this film. I mean, it is Searchlight potentially. I can see you arguing why this might be Searchlight's top priority. If you look at Yorgos Lanthimos, previous Oscar contender, Tiger, previous Oscar contender, which way did Searchlight go? Where do they want to align their priorities? I could see you arguing its next goal wins. Sure. I just personally think Poor Things is maybe a little more likely.
Yep. Yeah. So not for now. We'll see. It will probably come out at TIFF, and we'll see. Number 25. This is just a fun pick because I wanted to hear. Bottoms by Emma Seligman. Listen, Shiva Baby is one of my, I'd say, top 5 all time for me. I love Shiva Baby. Shiva Baby's an amazing movie, and you should all go watch it. Bottoms is here because this just premiered at South by Southwest, and it got rave reviews, especially about the screenplay. You can watch our screenplay video, which will come out in a couple days, to see. I put it in. I'll just say it right now. I put it in because, like, why not? I want it to happen. There's no harm. It's early predictions. It's MGM. Sure, that sucks. But we'll see. We'll see if this could be something that campaigns really strong.
I guess. I think this is just a lone screenplay thing, maximum. But anyway,
I agree.
I guess it's worthy of putting on the list then at that point.
Like, it got an 81 on Metacritic, a 93 on Rotten Tomatoes or something like that. Like, it got a 4.1 on Letterboxd. Like, people do love this movie. Everything Ever was the breakout hit last year. I'm not saying that this can be Everything Ever at once. Listen, no, I'm not saying this, but I'm saying, like, it can happen for screenplay, and because of that, it should be on the top 25 for best.
Yes, sure.
It's more likely than like Magazine Dreams or like Dumb Money or something.
I think it's more likely than Dumb Money. Magazine Dreams, I think you could argue should be on here if we're giving.
Fine.
But anyway, it doesn't matter. It's number 25. I don't think either are happening. But
I want it to happen, so it's going to be here.
Sure.
Anyways, those are our predictions for Best Picture for 2024. You can watch our next videos we're going to do on director, lead actor, supporting actor, and on the writing categories. And we'll have those 5 videos for early predictions. And then we'll start previewing Cannes, and then we'll have Cannes, and then we'll come back to doing more predictions. Yep. And the cycle.
It's an endless cycle. It's an endless cycle.
Yep. So anyways, these are predictions for Best Picture. Tell us your predictions in the comments below. You can find all of our links in the description to Twitter and the Letterboxd and our TikTok. But until then, stay safe, everybody, and goodbye.